he still, even that he would have had to kill me, was going to do it himself, and he could have sent anybody to do it. He could have told anybody to pull the trigger. They would have did it like this, okay? So hey guys, welcome to the Goodfellow Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Barone. If you like us, give us a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to the Patreon channel we have. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and to all my loyal viewers and stuff like that. Appreciate everything. And all my friends out there and everybody else that's watching it, just hit the subscribe button. Don't worry about it. It won't hurt you. It don't cost anything. Hit it. Anyways, so I want to talk about a few things today. First, I want to give a shout out to my friend and brother Dominic Sicali, who is on Mafia Roundtable, and now he's unfiltered, which the show is, I love it. He had brought up a couple of things in his show that I want to talk about, and don't forget, hit his channel too and subscribe. Show him some love because he's got a lot of good stuff out there. He's got some that EG vodka, which I tasted, very good, and he's got cigars. He's got a lot of stuff out there that you guys might be definitely interested in. I would do it, especially over the holidays now too. And don't forget about my friend Charlie Buono, who's got the From Crime to Christ. Okay, get his book because it's a good read. Anyways, Dominic had mentioned stuff about Mikey Noseman Cuso, who is the boss of the Bonanno crime family, who I also knew in the street too. And I think if you guys ever heard my other podcasts and stuff like that, even with Dominic and I were going to take Mikey Nose out at that time. And so, but Dominic is 100% correct about Mikey Nose being a punk and also being like sending letters and everything, because I could tell you first of all, I know Dominic is telling the truth. And why he's telling the truth is like this. What you guys don't seem to understand, and I'm addressing a lot of these comments because I'll talk to you about a lot of comments that were on Vlad TV and some other ones on my show too. But Mikey No sent a letter in prison to my another captain in my family, Jerry Chile, who's passed away now. But he even sent a letter to him about me too. Okay, now don't get me wrong. We are in prison. He's got to get information to him, so definitely he had to send a letter or whatever, I guess. But he could have sent word to some other guys. Okay, but he didn't. And so I knew Mikey Nose in the street too, the same way. And he's all out for himself, just like I told you most of the time. All these guys, 95% of them are all out for themselves. Okay? And so Mikey, believe me, you could believe Dominic when he says it. And what I was trying to say before I get sidetracked, Dominic and I both cooperated. Now, I don't care what anybody says about me. You can call me a rat. You can call me an informant. You can call me a cooperator. Whatever way you want to say it, I don't care. If I was worried about my feelings getting hurt or I'm afraid of something like that, I wouldn't be on this platform, okay? The only thing I want everybody else to do is if you want to say something about me, say what is the truth. Like I said, you want to call me a rat, a cooperator, and everything like that? Absolutely. I did that. So that's okay. You're saying what you want to say, and you're saying the truth. That's what I did. I cooperated with the government. But when you want to say stuff about me, I was afraid to do the 10 years in prison, if that's what I was actually really going to get. I'm not sure. Within 10, 6 or something like that. Who knows? That's wrong. And I'm going to tell you about that in a minute. But going back to Dominic and everything like that, we don't care about telling the truth because we don't have to lie about anything. We're already out there. We're exposed. It's not like we have to make a story up so we can try to sway you guys to believe us or not. The truth is the truth. One thing about Dominic and myself is I was with him, okay? Not every waking minute or anything like that, but we were together. And even when we weren't together, because of the circle we were in, I was in his crew, okay? I know exactly what he did. You know, like if you had a couple of guys or something like that, or something happens in your family, you know right away, oh, wow, I can't believe Cousin Joe did this or Uncle Joe did that. You know, because the stories get out, okay? So we don't come on this platform to tell you or try to sway you or try to be, oh, could you forgive us, please? No, listen. Dominic did what he did. He was in a different position than I was, in a different circumstance than I was, and so was I. So Dominic is going to be the first to tell you that he took the easy way out. Well, in a way, so did I. Okay, I could have waited the 10 years. Now I'm going to go back to. Let me go back to my situation. This way I can know. And I just wanted to say that about Dominic on his platform because he's telling you guys the truth. And believe me, look, he tells you who's the good guy. He tells you who you don't want to talk bad about because they're still out in the street. If he was no good, or if he was doing something to try to make himself look better in your eyes, the people who got negative things to say about him is what I'm saying, okay? Why wouldn't he mention these people's names then? Okay, so that right there alone. Matter of fact, you guys are going to see a lot more when he comes out with his book, The Perfect Crime Family, and that's going to be a hell of a read as well. Well, anyways, about me. I was doing the wrong thing out there in the street. I get a pinch. This is in the 90s, okay? Okay, now I'm doing my time. I'm not cooperating with the government. I'm not doing anything. I'm doing my time. I'm fighting the case. I had a couple of different lawyers. I had Susan Brody was my, well, they gave me, first they tried to give me did they give me yeah, well, the legal aid was Suzanne Brody. I told her I'd give her some money if she'd really help me out with the case because I liked her. I think she was really good. And at that time, I think I was only looking, first she said it's like 3 years. So that was nothing. Don't get me wrong. Once again, let me tell you, nobody wants to do the time. Anybody tells you, I don't care, I can do the time, that's bullshit, okay? Nobody wants to do time, but we do it. Now I was doing my time, like I'm saying. Well, Suzanne Brody, I don't know what happened, why we separated, but then I hired another attorney, Bruce Bendish. Both of these people from White Plains. Excuse me a second. I had a cup of espresso before, so I'm thirsty. So Bruce Bendish asks for about 7 months to review the case and do all of this kind of stuff, and the judge granted it to him. That's 7 more months I'm going to be in there while he's looking the case over and everything, and while we're fighting it, okay? And that's still I'm doing the time, so it's not like I'm running anyways or thinking about even cooperating. I call up home one day. My grandmother says, "I got bad news for you. Your daddy died." That's the way she said it to me. Well, I was brokenhearted. I started crying right there on the phone. I couldn't believe it. My friend Danny Ticchio, another skipper from Staten Island, was there. He saw me and he gave me like a hug. He grabbed me and whatever. And that was it. I didn't think about anybody that killed my father. I didn't think he was murdered. I didn't think any of that stuff. I think he died. You know, like, that's it. So, once again, I go back to fighting my case. Oh, yeah, I'm sad about it, of course. Don't get me wrong. My mother just died in 1988. My father died in January 2nd, 1992. So they were 3 years apart in age, and also they died 3 years apart. So that's it. I'm fighting the case. Well, now, all of a sudden, I get called down to MCC. I'm like, what the heck's going on? I figured I'm going to stay in Otisville because that's where I was in Otisville. And I caught a superseding indictment, which involved my Uncle Chick. Okay, I didn't talk to my Uncle Chick for a little while, but we saw each other in court and everything. And he said to me, "I'm sorry I didn't talk to you all those years," but they connected his case with mine because of the loan sharking and stuff like that. And that's another story. I'll give you that another time why they did that. But anyway, and that was it. That was, I think I had Judge Gattell or something like that. But anyway, the guy was asleep at the bench. Anyway, so now I'm still in there, and I think I mentioned you guys, I saw Vic Musso in there, and a lot of guys says, oh, he was too high level to go to Otisville. Well, he was in Otisville. That's where I first met him. Anyway, I told you the story about how they called me down. Vic met me. He found out that feds wanted to interview me and gave me the spiel that he gave me. He said, tell him this, Joe, you listen, everything like that. For all you guys back who didn't listen or have listened, he said, listen, you sit there, you listen. He says, and you say, listen, I'd love to help you, but I'm not even in a position to help myself. So that was the deal, and I never forgot that all these years. Especially coming from a guy like him. Well, now I get the whole spiel from the FBI, and don't get me wrong, I didn't trust the FBI even back then. Never mind, even more now what they did to me and everything. But they knew a lot of things about what happened with my father. They knew where he was. They knew that he moved from one villa to the next. They said that there was men that went to go see him. They went under my last name.
When you say villa, you mean in Mexico?
No, in Honduras he was.
In Honduras.
Yeah.
So he was moving around in Honduras.
Well, they also told me that they said every time somebody went to go see him, he met them at the mall or some popular place. He said, but this particular
So the FBI was watching him.
Somebody must have been watching him. Sure. I don't know if they had. Listen, don't forget, my father was paying the officials down there. Okay, so he had protection. That's why, because the FBI told me this, and I'm glad you brought it up. I'm glad you helped me, reminded me. They said we went to go arrest him. They says, and then the officials that he was paying warned him that they were coming to get him, and then he moved from one villa to another. And I know that that's true because when I went to go call him, he had a different phone number.
So I wonder if there was another informant involved in all this, because there's like a triangle of information here. Somehow the locals were finding out from either the FBI or the mob guys. So
There's a lot more to the story than meets the eye, and this
Yeah.
is the reason why I needed help, and this is one of the reasons why I decided to cooperate too. And that's a good point, because could have been an FBI agent. Remember, my father was a fixer. He knew law enforcement. He knew judges. He knew a lot of different people, a lot of politicians and stuff like that. He knew people where he could reach out.
Right.
So now, don't get me wrong. My father didn't tell me things, but who knows what he told other people that he thought he could trust? I don't know. Okay. Well, he moved from one villa to another one, and when I went to try to call him, now I didn't notice at the time. I was still in the street then, and I would try to call him. I said, "The number's not ding." Then finally, I got another number, supposedly to get in touch with him. But the FBI also said that they went down to, like I said, they went down to arrest him. He moved. He said, but then the people would meet him in the mall. But check this out. The last time that these three guys supposedly went underneath my last name, he took them back to his villa, which he never did before. They wanted to arrest him that weekend. They went there, and there he was dead on the floor.
Oh man,
that's the way they said it.
That's terrible.
I just hate talking about it, but this is what I want to get across to everybody. Now, they did an autopsy on my father. I still didn't know if, what was going on, because I didn't even know that there was an autopsy performed on my father. They already had, my father was gone. He was dead for 3 months already, and they dug him up. Okay, this is what you guys don't seem to understand. They dug my father up. They gave me a stack of photos like this thick, and there it was, the cemetery, the picture of the cemetery, the drive up there, the tombstone, them digging him up. And there I saw him again, a slab on a table, like a piece of meat. You guys don't seem to understand what it is seeing your father after that. All these years, you ain't seen your father. It was probably like almost 2 years I didn't see him. And that's the last picture I saw of my father. And I'm not trying to ask you guys to feel sorry for me. I'm not trying to beg you for some kind of whatever. But like I said, you guys don't want to put yourselves in my shoes to see how it really is until you're there. Well, there was a big scar on him, a big V-shape, a cut. Now, some people say that's how they perform autopsies. I told you guys before, I went to my cousin, but I called him uncle out of respect. He said that was to hide the stab wounds. Now, why would my uncle tell me that? Okay, so now do I still believe the FBI, or do I still believe my uncle, or do I not believe either one of them? What? So what I say to you guys is, don't get me wrong. I don't want to do 10 years in prison. If you tell me you don't care, you're full of shit, okay? But I wouldn't have cooperated. I still would have took my time. I would have fought the case as best I could, get the best deal I could get, and then I would have did it like anybody else did. But because the way I was convinced and the way I hear it, Who's going to stab my father? Who? Okay, got to be his own people. Wasn't the FBI going to kill him? Or maybe it was. Maybe the FBI knew something and they didn't want him to maybe cooperate. Not that I don't think my father ever would have, okay? I don't know. But there's too much mystery around it, and I'm not that smart to figure it out by myself, okay? I don't know who I could ask, who I could talk to. I'm maybe going to find out soon, as soon as I do something with Dominic soon, and he's probably going to finally tell me everything he knows, okay? He protected me in the street, and he probably did know more stuff than he would really tell me, but I think in his heart he didn't want to hurt me, okay?
Well, he knew if he told you, you might do something that would lead to you getting killed.
That's exactly right. And Dominic, I love him and thank him for that. Because as much as, if you know a guy is cheating on, your girlfriend is banging, his girlfriend's banging somebody else or vice versa, whatever it may be, you're in a precarious situation. Do you tell your friend that your girlfriend's a whore or a pig or cheating on you or whatever you want to call it? Or do you tell him because you want to do it right? Because usually you wind up the bad guy, right? If I told you your girlfriend was cheating on you, what? They looking to blame. They're so brokenhearted or hurt, they want to blame somebody else. You guess who they're going to blame? The guy who told them, okay? What did they always say? They always kill the messenger. So I appreciate what Dominic did for me and protect me like that. And that's why a lot of people said, like on Vlad TV when I was on there, he said, you said Dominic would have killed me. And Dominic would have killed me because he was true to that life. And I think he would have been hurt about it. Yeah, I definitely don't think he would have wanted to do it. But he would have never did. I could have accepted it from Dominic because I loved him. I would accept that, and I wouldn't have fought. I would have said, all right, Dominic, just try to make it quick. I don't know if you want to look me in the eye or you want me to turn my back on you. However it would have went, I don't know. But he still even that he would have had to kill me was going to do it himself, and he could have sent anybody to do it. He could have told anybody to pull the trigger. They would have did it like this, okay? So I appreciate what he did. But going back to my whole point about this, all you guys on Vlad TV, and I appreciate Vlad was a very gracious host, good. He came up with a lot of questions, a lot of stuff that I like. He interviews a lot of people I like. He said that there would be a lot of negative comments, and I don't mind that. But if you guys want to say that I did it to get out of 10 years, that's just not the truth, okay? I'm not saying I would have been, I'm tougher, I'm badass, I could do it. I wouldn't want to do 10 years. Then, now, next year, never. Nobody wants to do 10 years, okay? But I would have did it and took it like a man because I was already doing it, even before I found this all out. Now, you guys want to believe me or not? I don't care. That's up to you. But that's the truth. So anything else you guys want to say, you really could, you can, I don't want to tell you where to go, but that's just the bottom line. I hope you guys understand. Like I said, I'm not asking you to believe me, like say, oh, yeah, I'm not asking you to forgive me or whatever you want to do. I don't care. But that's the truth. And I've asked this question. I haven't got a comment yet. What would you do if you were in my position? I hear a lot of talk. Oh, I would have did this. I would have did that. I know. Nobody knows what you would have did until you were there. That's why I can't get an answer from anybody out there. You know why? Because you don't know what you would have did while you were in my position. But anyway, with that being said, I hope I got that off my chest a little bit. I hope that clears up a few things for a lot of people. And if it does, it does. It don't, it don't. Like I said, you want to like me, you can like me. If you want to hate me, that's up to you too. I don't care. I made it. I'm going to be 63 years old next month. I made it all these years without anybody's help. So whatever's going to be is going to be. And that's just the bottom line. But I appreciate you listening. Thanks about that. Did you have any questions about that? Or?
Yeah. So you mentioned earlier about Mikey Knows.
Mm-hmm.
Were you scared for your life when you found out that letter was sent?
Well, I'm going to tell you exactly how that went down if you really want to know.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm in prison with Jerry Chile. Jerry Chile was a captain in the Bonanno family. He was really my boss too. He came to me when he got the letter, and he pulled me in by myself. This is how close me and Chile was, and this is how much Chile liked me. And Chile was he was a real gangster. Did probably half his life in prison.
Was he Dominic's like senior? He was a captain before Dominic
Well,
was?
he was older, yeah, but I don't know if once you're a captain, you're a captain. You have that same mutual respect.
Okay,
you know?
I
mean,
gotcha.
because Jerry Chile was in. I think he was. Well, he's from Brooklyn. I think he was living in Staten Island. Matter of fact, there was a movie, Gus Faraci, who was he was involved with that too back in the day. So they made a movie about it. But and Dominic was a captain in the Bronx, so they would have had no problems. But Chile was a real. Oh man, Chile just. I can't even explain to what he was a really good guy. Somebody you'd want to know, and he'll do anything. He would have did anything about it. He was he was fun too. It was like crazy. He didn't care. He followed some of the rules when he wanted to follow the rules, and he made no bones about it. Matter of fact, he told me, he says, when I leave here, he says, and they want me to do work, in other words, kill somebody or anything. He says, I'm going to tell them, listen, you let those younger guys do it. Let them come up now. He says, I did my time. I proved myself already. Let somebody else do it. And you know something? I like that because that's true. That's real.
Whenever you and Dominic talk about Jerry Chile, I always picture him like Joe Pesci.
Actually, he was. Chile was man. He was just crazy. He used to party. He did coke. He didn't give a shit. He was fucking wacky. But anyway, so Chile he calls me into his cell with me, and shows me the letter, gives me the letter, and he says, "Listen, this Mikey knows." He says, I said, "Yeah, I know Mikey." And Mikey knows I know him. I know his sister used to have a daughter. She used to go out with a good friend of mine at that time, Andy Matheson. Andy was adopted at that time too, and he lived with a church that I used to go to, Assembly of God Church, years ago, when I was a kid. And
was Mikey already acting boss when he sent that letter? Or was he just a captain?
He was still in prison.
But
actually, yeah, he was.
Did
still
he
in
hold
prison.
a position? Was he a captain at that time?
He was an acting captain, I think.
Okay,
Yeah, and I don't know if he became the acting boss before he went away, because Vinny went away before him. But Vinny put him in that position, and I think he only put him in there because I knew he can control him. I think, but well, anyways, he gets the note and he says, "Look," he says, "to watch out." He mentions my name in the letter. Says, "Watch out for this Joe Barone guy." Meanwhile, Mikey knows and me. I didn't really have a problem with him. He wanted hair transplants like me and stuff like that, and I told him I would help him with that and all that baloney. And yeah, Mikey was he's just a, look, in that life, most of these guys are all out for themselves just to make the money, and I get it. It's a cutthroat business. I mean, it's a tough life. It's not like, but they can get jealous of you for one thing. You might have a better shirt than they did, or you might dress better than them, or have a better looking girlfriend than them, or you got a nicer car than them, or maybe the boss likes you a little bit more, or it looks like he's showing you a favor more. These people, they're all, that's why, you see, this is the reason why I got along great with Dominic. Well, there was more than just this reason. Dominic and I hit it off like right off the bat, okay? His cousin was right about that. She said, you guys would be terrific together," and it was true. But Dominic was, in that life, he was very fair. Now, I mentioned a lot of times he had a heart, and he did. I saw it, but he couldn't show anybody else that. You would never know that he had that kind of feelings. You know what I'm saying? You would never know it. I know it because I've been with him while we were just me and him alone, and other times. But he was ruthless when he had to be, and that was it. But he was fair to people out there, and people respected him even a lot more because he was Vinny's right hand man, to be honest with you, and he didn't throw it at anybody's face like that. He just said what he had to say, did what he had to do, and that was it.
Do you think Dominic was in contention to become next acting boss or underboss?
Oh, Dominic, could have went all the way.
Yeah.
Because he had the gift of he learned fast. He was open to things. He had the gift of he had the smarts with the brains. You know what I'm saying? He's still making money to this day. He could definitely defend himself. You wouldn't want to get into a fight with him. Look, if Dominic liked you and you respected him and you liked him, he'd do anything for you. If you had a problem with him and you tried to mess him over or whatever, I feel sorry for you. You know what I mean? See, one thing about Dominic and I was never in competition with him. He's never in competition with me. And Dominic is a lot smarter than me. I mean, he definitely applied himself a lot better, even than I did. Because in one way, I didn't want that life. But then when you're hanging around with Dominic, it just everything felt like this is who I am. You know what I mean? I was so engulfed in my role. Look, I would have did anything for Dominic. I'm gonna be honest with you. I would have did anything for Dominic, and I feel Dominic would have did anything for me too. You know what I'm saying? Look, there were some things I've never talked about. I'm not gonna say anything because I didn't talk to him about it. I don't want to say things, but he had said to me, "Listen, if this happens, whatever, I'll take care of it." So he was very, very good to me. Tried to help me out. He knew I had money. I was doing good, and yet he still tried to help me out with money in the street to make more money.
Would you say that Dominic was your only like real true friend in that life?
Yes, even though, and Vlad brings up a good point. Even though he would have had to take me out if he found out what I was doing. That's why I think it would have hurt him because I was his real friend. And now you see, you got to remember one thing. Let's say I wanted to just be a wise guy and I didn't want to work for the feds anymore. It was already too late. I already worked for them. There's no going back.
Right.
You understand? There's just no going back. And so he would have had to take me out, and I definitely would agree with it because I was doing the wrong thing, and that's what happens in that life. Sometimes a lot of people get away with doing the wrong thing, and they think they're this or that. I was trying to find out one thing. I did ask Dominic on a couple occasions about my father, and he said I'll look into it, but he didn't give me no real definitive answer until just recently, and he still didn't give me an answer. But we're going to discuss it. And I don't know what's going to happen to my psyche about it, So I don't know, but yeah, that's Jerry Chile's the type of guy that you could have a lot of fun with. He had the title, he had balls, he didn't care about nothing. Oh man, there's some people like like that is good too. Like when he hung around with Ace. Ace is another guy. Anthony Aiello, he was crazy too, man. But he was fun too, like in his own way. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Was Anthony Aiello a made member or no?
Yes, he was a soldier. Yep.
Gotcha.
I think his father was around. I think his father got caught up in the pizza connection. And you guys, I don't know if anybody ever heard of that, but it was a big.
What's the
case.
pizza connection?
Oh, it was they called it because they used to bring the heroin in the pizza boxes.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So his father, I think, got caught up in that, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but I think that's what happened there. But he was a good guy too, Anthony Donato, who I hung around with because of Dominic and everything. Look, Vinny, all these guys were cool, like in their own way too. But Dominic and I were just that extra, you know what I mean? And we had it. And
you guys weren't just business associates.
No.
You were real. You actually had each other's back. Whereas most of those types of relationships within that life, it seems like you have your back until you guys have each other back until like the money gets tight or the money stops coming in or something happens or
look, I'm still.
And then people are quick to turn.
Exactly. Listen, even Dominic had mentioned a fight and it was Ralphie Balsambo. Now he's in the Genovese family, but they got into somebody. Dominic, I think, is somebody in his crew. Some people around there, they got into a fight, even though you're not part of the crew. Say I was in the Genovese and Dominic was in the Bonanno, and then like he is and was and has gotten into a fight in a bar or something. Even though I'm not in that crew, I still got to help him fight. You're
Right.
supposed to stick up for each other.
Right.
You understand? So when you don't do that, you're looked at like, what's wrong with you, bro? You kidding me? It goes a long way for somebody to do that because Dominic would have jumped in for somebody on another crew. He would have helped them out. The only way I think, and I don't want to speak for Dominic, the only way I think he wouldn't have helped somebody out is if he didn't like that person from the other crew. And I still think he might have did it just to show face.
Yeah.
So, look, this life, I think Michael Francis says it a lot too. This is a tough life. This is not like now why everybody a lot of times are unhappy in there. If you ain't earning big money and you got to deal with this stuff. Look, you don't know when somebody's going to kill you. There's some crews out there that people are getting whacked left and right for no reason half the time. And some of these guys are tough and they're not afraid. But if you don't know what you're getting killed for, what is that? You don't know what's going to happen. Some guy flips the house. Oh, yeah, do this. He did that. It only takes one word from the boss and you're gone. Okay? And that's it. And people don't ask questions. You can't. They say, listen, this guy's got to go. All right, that's it. It's over.
So what specifically did did Mikey Knows Mancuso say about you in that letter? And then what was your, like, did you were probably, well, obviously you were in prison, and so was he, but, and then they sent you to SHU, I'm assuming, pretty soon after that, right?
I was in population for like a couple of months or something like that, and then they sent me to the box.
Okay.
And then
So what did he say specifically about you in the letter?
it said something. I think there was a guy that was doing time with. He was in a cell with Chile. Then he left the prison and he met a guy in the prison. I think Jimmy McManus. I think Dominic mentions him in his podcast too. I knew Jimmy too in the street. Big Irish guy, big dude. Okay, and I think Jimmy. They must have got in touch with Mikey. I don't know if they read something about me in the paper or they heard. Oh, they heard some things in the street that this guy Buddy. Israel Buddy Buddy Torres was around the Genovese family. I mentioned him before that he chased me from the diners or some shit like that or whatever. So I don't know exactly every little thing it was said, but he said just watch this guy or don't trust him or some shit like that.
I gotcha.
That's all it was. Nothing major.
So you weren't really scared for your life then?
No.
Especially since you were
First
you
of
were
all,
going to SHU pretty soon.
One thing, there's only shivs in there, and they do jump you into prison if you had to get jumped.
Yeah.
But, listen, to be honest with you, I don't want to lie. I had a shiv in the prison too.
What would you make it out of, or did you buy it from
wasn't
somebody?
mine. It was the guy I was in the cell with. He says if you ever need anything, you'll take it.
What was it made of?
I don't remember. I don't know if it was a nail or I don't remember what the heck it was, but it was like a
What types of
piece
stuff?
of plastic.
How would they make weapons in there? What types of weapons?
Well,
would
it
you see?
depends on where they if they work in there or they get something or
Okay.
however it was they try to get the razor blades, but then you are supposed to give the razor blade back to the guy after that you shave, and then sometimes you go to keep things. So they could do things. They make
Depends
their
on the prison.
A lot of these guys
what
are
the
way
rules
more.
are.
Yeah, these guys are more smarter than me. They used to do when I was in the box. We used to go fishing, and so we had a little string, and then we had this thing we can throw it out to the aisle, and then we catch the other guys, and then we pass magazines or candy bars. So, because it was like a little space underneath the cell door about this big. A lot of these guys are innovative. They did it with batteries, and then when they staple your letter together, we use that as the hook. So it was a lot of different things we did. But look, when you're in prison, it's a whole different thing. Pretty much, unless the guy can really fight or handle himself with his own hands, you can have a better chance of fighting in prison than you could in the street when the guy's got a gun and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then I've seen plenty of fights where 3 or 4 guys try to jump you, and there's probably only 2 of them fighting, and the other 2 really ain't. You know what I mean? So that's why I think my friend Jimmy, when I was in Milan, Michigan with him, he stuck up for me too. I stuck up for him. He stuck up for me, and that's rare. A lot of guys, they say they're gonna do it, but then they're like, I didn't hear it, I didn't see it, I didn't know, all that baloney. You know what I mean? And Jimmy was right there. I heard about Jimmy, and I ran to the fight for him too. That's the way it goes.
So just to wrap up the Jerry Chile thing, what was his? Was he basically still? Was he still your friend after that, or did he?
Yes, and he never said anything about it. I sent money. Jerry was broke. I sent money. I sent Jerry. I sent him money when I was in prison to his wife because my fiance back then used to talk to his wife all the time and stuff like that. So, matter of fact, when I went to the box, Chile called up his wife and said, "Called the kid's girl. They took him to the box." And that's good because I could have been there a whole fucking month. Nobody would have known.
Right.
Until my girl came up to visit me, and they would have said, he's in the box, and she would have never known.
So you can be put into the box or a SHU or special housing, whatever you want to call it. You can be put into that for other reasons than disciplinary, obviously, like to protect you, right?
That's what they said it was. Yeah.
So are you still allowed to access commissary when you're in there and stuff like that?
But your commissary is different when you're in the hole. They don't
buy certain items.
That's right. They won't allow you if you want the thing of sardines because it comes in like an olive oil type of thing, or whatever. They don't let you buy that no more.
Because it comes in like a metal can or something.
No, it's like a sealed bag, but but because of the oil, the people would throw it on the floor, they'd slip. So
okay.
They have their own rules.
I gotcha.
Prison it sucks. But when you're in the hole, you're in a prison within a prison, which is 1,000 times worse. That's why usually some judges give you, I think, 2 days for every one day that you do in prison, or something like 3 days or whatever it is, because the hole is that bad, bro.
Wow.
Listen, that's where I got my PTSD. I didn't know it. I went to my psychiatrist when I came home. I was sitting in the dark when I came home. So I went to see a psychiatrist. He put me on Klonopin.
Because you did 15 months, correct?
15 months in the box.
Yeah,
23-hour lockup a day.
That's crazy.
Saturday and Sunday, you don't get out at all. 24 hours a day. Yep. I didn't know I had it. I don't know what that was. I just,
That has to have been the longest year and a half of your life, right? Or did it go by quick?
It always looks like it went by quick when you're looking back, but when you're looking forward, it's not quick.
Yeah.
Every day's another day, and I used to tell myself another day's closer to me getting out of here. Another day's closer to me getting out of here. That's why I used to talk to myself. Sometimes those walls, they close in on you.
Right.
I wrote on the wall, let's see if I can remember now. God will never put you with God will never put you where the grace of God can't help you, or something like that. I got it written down somewhere at home still. I wrote that in the wall a long time ago too, in the cell. And then they take you out of the cell. You got to switch every 30 days from one cell to another cell.
Why is that?
Break your balls. You don't want you to. They don't, every 30 days you got to move from one cell to another cell. It's a pain in the neck,
Yeah.
That's why I knew about that guy Jeffrey Epstein. I know he didn't hang himself in there because there's no two COs that are going to sleep on duty. The cameras are not off unless they're going to do something to you in there. So when the cameras are off in there, they're up to something bad. That's why, like, also when the guards come to get you out of the cell, and they got to come with the Ninja Turtles, they dress up in all the uniforms and the shields and all of this shit. They turn the cameras off. They don't leave them on. Because they're going to have to duke you up or whatever they're going to have to do. They're going to have to hurt you. And that's why I know, look, if you want to ask what's going on out in the real world about scams or anything like that, ask a guy who's been in this life or who's a criminal in the street or just whatever. We all know the scams. You know what I mean? So, but that's those prison stories for you.
You want to answer a few comments and
Sure.
questions?
Sure. Yeah, a lot of guys I saw from Australia, Ireland, UK. I appreciate you guys checking out.
YouTuber1 says, the multi-talented Joe Barone. Come on now. That's not Fugazi music, is it? That's really Joe strumming that tune?
Fugazi.
Fugazi music.
Yeah, that's me. That was me strumming. That's I do a couple songs on my Patreon channel. So if you don't think I'm doing it, man, tune on in. You'll see. Listen, because just like I said, that's who I am. I used to sing, I play guitar. I used to like to have a lot of fun. Forget about the tough guy shit. Only when it needed to be.
Hellfire Paintball says, hey, Joe, I missed your live. I'm trying to work out the time difference. I'm about to join your Patreon.
Oh.
I have PTSD as well from prison, 8 years and 5 in maximum security. Wow.
Oof.
So I can relate to your PTSD. Your videos are really helpful with this problem. And also, I love those old pictures. He ends it off with, I never had a father, and I can see how emotional you get when talking about him. Stay strong. Keep up the good work. Love and respect from us in Australia.
Wow. Thanks so much. And right back to you with the love and respect. And you keep your head up and you stay strong. And you ever want to reach out to us, we're always here. I'm here to listen. I don't have to give you a comment. Somebody like you, I can respect, and I really appreciate that. Thank you so much for sending that.
Also, he says, P.S., love the guitar.
Oh, thanks, man. Hey, listen, I don't know if you play any instruments, man, but, maybe we can do something on the Skype channel together. We could play and
On the Patreon, that'd be cool.
on the Patreon, that would be really cool, too. I'll put you on the show with me, and we could do something like that. And, maybe go some prison stories or just whatever. Talk about anything. Thanks for that. Appreciate it.
James Ryan says, I'm enjoying the stories, Joe. Keep them up.
Okay, yeah, I'll definitely do that. And if you have any questions, James, just, send them in, man. I'll try to answer anything as best I can. Like I said, I don't know everybody, but there was a few guys I was around, and but I can definitely answer questions if you need it done. Thanks.
Lewis D says, "Love the videos, Joe, from Newcastle, UK."
There you go. That's what I'm talking about. I tell you, I'd love to go to Australia and the UK and stuff and just look around to some places. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But thank you
Sure.
so much, man. Like I said, keep them coming. I'm glad you're subscribed, and I appreciate everything you got to say.
Timothy O'Reilly says, "Great video. Regards from Ireland."
Hey, that's what I was saying about the. Yeah, I appreciate it. Ireland was nice too. I used to love the Quiet Man. Of course, that's the only thing I know about Ireland as far as that's concerned. And you know, they had that town Innisfree. I don't know if you ever saw it or not, but yeah, appreciate that.
Another one from Hellfire Paintball. He says, "Love the story about putting the money in the freezer. Thanks, Joe." I think you're talking about your dad. When
Oh yeah.
You want to tell that one real quick?
I remember that. No, because I remember when we used to have my father would wrap the money up in foil,
Right.
and he had it looked like steaks in there. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
you know, because back in the days we didn't really have those great Ziploc things or freezer bags or whatever the hell it was. So I said, Dad, why do you keep the money in there? And he said, he says, you know, because the money's a little hot. We're trying to cool it down. I remember when I was a kid, my father, did I tell the fire story at my house that time when I was a little kid?
Yeah, you lit something on the curtain on fire.
Well, the guy downstairs, the can of whatever was some glue. Back then they used to have the pilot light all the time on.
Yeah.
It caught fire, so the guy panicked. He threw it in the chair, and the chair caught on fire, and it was a big deal. So my mother used to call the fire department right away for anything she smelled. So the fire department was there. My father, we just took a bath, my sister and I. So there we are. My father's carrying my sister and me and the guitar. And so my mother's upstairs, and he's going like this outside. Joni, throw out the money, the money. He's going like that, looking upstairs, and the whole neighborhood is out there in front of us. Just funny stuff.
Who's Rice 13 says, "Please post the link for the Patreon. We'd love to watch the movie reviews."
Oh, okay. You got
Yeah,
it posted, right?
the Patreon link is in all the video descriptions, and
Okay.
and it's also at the beginning. It flashes on screen at the beginning of all the videos.
Exactly.
We'll flash it again on screen right now for you.
And we're going to be working on that phone thing too, right? To get some people want to
Yeah, it's
call
up.
in.
It's up.
Oh, it is up.
I'll flash that on screen as well. Yeah,
Okay,
that's
yeah,
up,
let's do
guys.
that.
If you want to ask any questions, we have a number you can text in, or you can send a voicemail in, and we'll play the voicemail live.
Yeah. And we could also, listen, one day we'll do it on the live thing. And if somebody's talking stupid or crazy or something like that, we just disconnect them.
Yeah, we
That's
want.
all. I mean, you know, I don't care if somebody says something, hey, Joe, who the hell you think you are, or something like that. We'll just no problem. I'm just Joe Barone. You have a nice day. Click.
Yeah, we want to do the live call-ins as well.
Yeah.
On, some of the live episodes.
Exactly. We try.
Coming up.
Listen, I just want to connect more with you guys. This way, you know, you put the voice, we could talk for a minute or so, and stuff like that. Appreciate it.
Half Day of the Jackal 9372 says, I've been really liking this show.
No, thank you. Appreciate that. We really like you commenting on it.
And that's about it here.
Cool. So, anyways, we'll wrap it up for today for this episode. It is Thanksgiving next week, so you guys, I hope you all have a wonderful, happy Thanksgiving with your family. Hope maybe you guys ordered some EG vodka from my friend Dominic on Mafia Roundtable and having a good drink on us. Tune in again. You like us, subscribe. Thank you for watching the Patreon channel, and I appreciate everything you guys say, good or bad, no matter what. You guys take care of yourself. Peace and love, all right?